All right, so today we're diving into something massive, literally massive.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
We're talking about the Maha Kumbh Mela in India.
Ah, yes. The
So,
gathering's so huge, it's attracted like over 120 million people.
yeah, that's more than the entire population of most countries.
It's mind-boggling, really.
But we're not just here to talk about crowd size, right?
Right.
We're here to uncover what makes this event so significant.
Mhm.
And, luckily you brought all this research, historical accounts, religious texts, even astronomical charts.
Yeah, it's fascinating, because the Maha Kumbh Mela, it's more than just a spectacle. It's
Yeah.
this really complex tapestry. You've got Hindu mythology, astronomy, and spirituality all woven together.
So we're talking ancient tradition meeting modern-day devotion.
Exactly.
Wow. Okay, so where do we even begin with something this complex?
Well, I think the best place to start is with the myth at the heart of it all, the Samudra Manthan,
The,
the churning of the ocean.
okay, yeah, gods and demons,
Right.
right? Churning this cosmic ocean for Amrit.
That's right, the nectar of immortality.
Sounds like something out of a Marvel movie.
It does, doesn't it? But it's a really foundational myth, not just a story. The drops of Amrit that fell at Prayagraj, Haridwar, Ujjain, and Nashik, well, they imbued those locations with sacred power.
Okay, so those became the sites for the Kumbh Mela.
Exactly. And bathing in those rivers, especially during the Mela, it's believed to wash away accumulated karma.
I think most of our listeners are familiar with that concept. But maybe just a quick refresher. Karma, in this context, it refers to the cycle of cause and effects,
Yeah.
right, determined by our actions.
Exactly.
So the mala is a chance to sort of cleanse yourself, start fresh, take a step closer to, what is it, moksha?
Yeah, moksha, liberation from the cycle of rebirth.
Wow. Okay, so we've got this epic mythological backdrop, but it's not just a story.
Right.
We're talking about something that's been practiced for centuries. You found references in the Rig Veda and the Mahabharata, right?
Yeah, they highlight the sacredness of rivers and the spiritual benefits of ritual bathing.
Suggesting this tradition goes back how far? Thousands of years.
It's possible. It's deeply woven into Indian spiritual history.
And there's even an account from the 7th century, right? A Chinese traveler named Hume-san.
Yes. He documented a huge gathering at Prayagraj. It might have been an early Kumbh Mela,
So it wasn't just a mythical concept, it was a real event.
a real event drawing massive crowds even back then.
This is where it gets interesting for me. It's not just some random gathering, right?
Oh.
We're talking about precise astronomical calculations. The 12-year cycle is tied to Jupiter and the Sun.
It is. When Jupiter enters Aquarius and the Sun enters Aries,
And then the Maha Kumbh, the grandest one.
the Maha Kumbh happens every 144 years because of an even greater planetary alignment.
So it's ancient science meeting spiritual practice.
Yeah, it really is.
I'm curious about Jupiter and Aries. Could you break down why they're so important?
Well, in Hindu astrology, Jupiter is known as Brihaspati. He's the guru of the gods. He represents wisdom, knowledge, good fortune. And Aries is associated with new beginnings, courage, and leadership.
Okay.
So their alignment creates a very potent time for spiritual growth, renewal. It amplifies the purifying power of that ritual bathing.
It's this connection to the cosmos that makes it so meaningful.
Exactly.
So we've established the mythology and the astronomical side. But how did this gathering evolve? We're talking ancient India, Mughal rule, British colonization. Did all that impact the Mela?
Absolutely. In the ancient and medieval periods, the Mela mostly attracted sages, philosophers, devout seekers.
Like a massive open-air university of spirituality.
Exactly. People would exchange wisdom on the banks of these sacred rivers.
I can only imagine those conversations.
Yeah.
But what happened when the Mughals came into the picture? Did that affect this ancient tradition?
Despite periods of religious and cultural tension, the Mela persisted. It even thrived under Mughal rule.
Really?
Yeah.
That's remarkable. I mean, Emperor Akbar even renamed Prayagraj to Allahabad,
He
right?
did.
It shows how important it was. But did the Mughal rulers ever try to control the Mela? Or did they just let it continue?
It's hard to say for sure. Historical records don't always give us the full picture. But some accounts suggest that some rulers were fascinated by the Mela. Maybe they even offered their patronage.
So they saw it as this unifying force.
Possibly, yeah.
So from attracting sages to captivating emperors, it's quite a journey. But what about the British? They documented it meticulously, right? Acknowledging its size. Did they impact how it was perceived or practiced?
Well, the British, they were known for their detached, analytical approach. But they were struck by the Mela's grandeur. Their documentation contributed to its global recognition.
I can picture British officers writing reports, sending them back to England.
Exactly. And that sparked curiosity in the West.
So from sages to emperors to colonial observers, the Maha Kumbh Mela has always drawn attention.
That's right.
And that brings us to its modern incarnation,
Indeed.
the modern Maha Kumbh Mela.
A fascinating blend of age-old traditions and, well, modern logistics. It's a testament to its power, its adaptability.
I can only imagine the challenges of managing an event of that scale. But before we get into that, I think we need to talk about the spiritual heart of this gathering. What draws millions to participate in this extraordinary event?
Absolutely.
So, welcome back to our deep dive into the Maha Kumbh Mela.
Yes, welcome back.
We've gone through the mythical origins. We talked about the astronomical underpinnings and kind of traced its evolution through history.
Right.
So now I think it's time to focus on the heart of this gathering, the spiritual experience.
Yeah.
The thing that draws, millions of people to these sacred waters.
It's one thing to hear about the Mela, but imagine, you're standing there at the confluence of these rivers, surrounded by millions who share your faith. The air is thick with anticipation. You hear the chanting of mantras, like echoing all around you.
Okay, yeah. I can picture it.
And the belief is that this moment, this alignment, it creates this energy, this gateway.
To spiritual liberation.
Exactly.
Wow, that's powerful. But I have to ask, with, millions of people, is it really possible to have that profound personal spiritual experience?
That's a good question. And it's something many people grapple with. For some, the Mela might feel overwhelming.
Yeah, I can see that.
Like the crowds are a distraction. But for others, that collective energy, the shared devotion, it actually amplifies their own personal experience.
So it becomes an affirmation of faith.
Exactly.
So it's not just about physically being there. It's about how you engage with it, right? On a spiritual level.
Right.
But what about the bathing itself? We talked about cleansing karma, moving towards moksha.
All right.
Can you talk more about that? I mean, what does it mean for the average pilgrim?
For many people, that act of bathing, it's an act of surrender.
Okay.
It's a way of symbolically washing away past transgressions, negative thoughts, accumulated burdens.
So you step into the water carrying all that weight.
Yeah. And then you emerge feeling lighter, renewed.
Closer to the divine.
Yes.
It's fascinating how one event can hold such diverse meanings and experiences for people.
It's true.
There's the individual transformation, but then also this feeling of community, right? You're surrounded by millions who share a similar belief system.
And a similar goal.
It must be powerful to feel that level of unity.
It is. The Mela transcends social barriers. You have people from all walks of life, rich, poor, they come together, united by this shared faith, a shared purpose.
So in those moments, differences fade away.
They do. And there's this profound sense of interconnectedness.
Yeah.
Of belonging to something bigger than yourself.
It makes me think about ritual and tradition in our lives. In a world that's so individualistic,
right,
technology-driven, these kinds of collective experiences seem almost countercultural.
They do, don't they? It makes you think about their enduring appeal. In a world that often feels fragmented, isolating,
Right.
the Mela offers an antidote. It reminds us of that human need for connection, shared purpose.
Something that transcends our individual lives.
Exactly.
Now, amidst all this talk of spiritual seeking and unity, we can't ignore a certain group. They always steal the show at the Mela.
Oh, you mean the Sadhus?
Yes, the Sadhus and Nagababas. They're so visually striking, and they embody that more extreme ascetic side of Hinduism.
The Sadhus are fascinating. They renounce worldly possessions and dedicate their lives to spiritual pursuits.
Yeah.
And many of them practice extreme forms of asceticism, testing their physical and mental limits.
I've seen pictures, yeah.
Yeah.
Often covered in ash, minimal clothing. Some even stand on one leg for years. It's hard to grasp that level of commitment.
It is. They really challenge our notions of comfort. And then you have the Nagababas who take it even further.
Oh, yeah.
They live completely naked, often with matted dreadlocks. They carry tridents.
They definitely stand out.
They do.
But what's their significance, within the Mela? Why are they drawn to it?
Well, for the Nagababas, it's a chance to showcase their spiritual prowess, their mastery over desire.
Okay.
It's also a chance to connect with other sadhus, share knowledge, maybe attract new followers.
So the Mela encompasses a whole spectrum.
Yeah.
From the average pilgrim seeking purification
Right.
to the extreme asceticism of the Nagababas.
Exactly. And that's what makes it so captivating. It's this tapestry woven from faith, ritual, asceticism, and that shared human yearning for something beyond the material. It challenges us to consider different paths to spirituality, different ways of seeking meaning and connection.
It's clear that the Maha Kumbh Mela is more than just a religious gathering. It's a cultural phenomenon, a logistical marvel,
Yeah.
and, well, a testament to the power of faith and tradition. But as we move further into the 21st century, things are changing rapidly.
Yeah.
I'm curious, what challenges and opportunities lie ahead for this ancient tradition? What does the future hold for the Maha Kumbh Mela?
That's a great question.
So we've explored the history, the mythology, the heart of the Maha Kumbh Mela.
It's an incredible tradition.
It really is. But looking ahead, into the 21st century, I can't help but wonder, how does a tradition like this, so ancient, navigate the complexities of our modern world?
It's a big question. The Mela, despite its roots in the past, it's not immune to the forces shaping our world. Climate change, for instance,
Oh, yeah,
poses a real challenge.
that's true.
With water scarcity and pollution, how do you maintain the sanctity and safety of those rivers? The very foundation of the Mela.
Yeah, it's a sobering thought. Something so ancient, so timeless, facing a challenge like climate change, it really shows how interconnected everything is, right?
Absolutely. What happens to our environment, it impacts our cultural practices, even those that have been around for millennia.
And it's not just the environment. We've got globalization,
Yeah.
which brings its own challenges and opportunities, I guess,
Right. The Mela is attracting more and more international attention.
which can be a good thing or a bad thing, right?
Exactly. On the one hand, you have increased tourism, cultural exchange,
Right.
but there's also the risk of commercialization, diluting the Mela's spiritual essence.
It's a tough balance. Sharing this treasure with the world, but also protecting it, making sure it stays authentic. I mean, we see it all the time. Sacred sites overrun with tourists, they lose their meaning.
Yeah. There are efforts to promote responsible tourism, educate visitors about the Mela's significance, encourage respectful behavior,
Okay.
and there's a movement within India itself to make the Mela more sustainable.
So, like, minimizing its environmental impact.
Exactly. Imagine if the Maha Kumbh Mela, one of the world's largest gatherings, became a model for sustainability.
That would be amazing.
Yeah.
Leading by example, showing that even these ancient traditions can adapt and evolve.
It's about honoring the past while safeguarding the future.
Well said. As we wrap up this deep dive, I'm in awe of the enduring power of the Maha Kumbh Mela. It's a testament to, well, human faith, resilience, and our desire for connection.
It's a powerful reminder that even in our rapidly changing world, these traditions offer a way to connect with something larger than ourselves, to tap into a sense of shared humanity, something that goes beyond cultures and borders.
This deep dive has definitely left me with more questions than answers. But that's often where the best journeys begin, right? So to our listeners, I encourage you to, delve deeper into this tradition, explore the stories, the rituals, the challenges, and the evolving nature of the Maha Kumbh Mela. It's a journey worth taking.